Hey guys, the devs just finished up their live stream for update 114 and the Tide of Corruption event, and I'm going to cover all that stuff. The dev stream was pretty general, so you'll probably get more details from partnered videos later this week. But let's go over this live stream, everything that happened. The first thing they announced is that there's these new custom ammo boxes that you can find in the world around resupply carts, and you can swap custom ammo types mid-mission, and that can help you kind of change your playstyle, or maybe if you don't have one of these ammo types unlocked but you want to use it, you can get them that way. There's only one ammo type per box, and the ammo type that's available at each box is random, and there's a small chance that you can also find these boxes within arsenals, and you can also find them within the Sole Survivor game mode. So yeah, that should give you plenty of options during a fight, or if you need to rush a compound, maybe you can switch which ammo type you have. And then we also got more information about the weapon inspect. The initial rollout of these includes pistols, melee, world items, bows, and crossbows, which we learned in the roadmap video. But there will be more animations to come with future updates, and they can be interrupted to not interfere with gameplay. So if you're doing one and then someone runs up on you, you can cancel this animation. Okay, and then there was a huge section about the new weapons that are coming. So we are getting the baseball bat, and it is a small slot melee weapon. Obviously, it's blunt melee damage, and it has a low stamina consumption. You'll have your hands on it soon, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but yeah, something new to play with. And then we have the DERRINGER PENNYSHOT, which only comes with 2 shells initially, but it benefits from frontiersmen, so you can get an additional reload that way. It's good against AI, but it has no wall penetration, but they did say that you could use it in emergencies if you maybe need to get just a few more ticks of damage on an enemy player. And then we have the Bornheim number 3 silencer. It has all the same ammo types as the regular Bornheim, except that it is a silencer. One thing to note, they are increasing the total ammo that the Bornheim has, so that might help it a little bit, especially with the silencer where the damage fall off will be more severe than just the normal Bornheim, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And then we have the UPPERCUT Precision, same ammo types as the UPPERCUT, it just has a stock. It is a 2-slot weapon. That stock should offer a little more stability, not like the UPPERCUT really needed it, but this will be interesting. As with other precisions, this will likely increase the fire rate just slightly, definitely one to watch out for. And then we also have the UPPERCUT Precision DEADEYE. Again, same bit of info, just this one also has a DEADEYE scope, but I think you could make very competitive medium builds using this and another 2-slot weapon. And then we have the Springfield 1866 bayonet. It is the Springfield with a bayonet. I'm surprised they didn't call it a musket like the Winfield musket, but you know, I'm not in charge of that, so yeah, that makes sense. Something to note about this slide is that it mentions high velocity ammo is coming, so that's interesting. You will be able to use high velocity ammo with the Springfield, including the Marksman, and I can imagine that would be very strong, so something to use as well. And then we have the BERTHIER Marksman, same basic ammos, it just has a Marksman scope. Not much to say on that one, but it is cool, and maybe Spitzer will see more use with the BERTHIER. And then we have the VETTERLI CYCLONE. This one I think might be a menace given how rapid those shots are, but the recoil is pretty high, so that might counterbalance it a little bit. They did say you might have to choose between firing that 4th shot and then going through a lengthy animation, or just topping off with 3 shots. So that's an interesting consideration that we don't really have with other guns. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes. This is a 3-slot weapon. I saw somebody ask if it's 2 slots. So no, it is a 3-slot weapon. It fires rapidly, and the reload on it looks really cool. I think everyone might be nervous about this one for a minute. And then let's talk about some other custom ammo changes. The Schofield is getting dum-dum and high velocity ammo. I'm really surprised about that because, I mean, the PACT is reliable and simple, but the Schofield already feels like the more interesting variant to me. And now with dum-dum and high velocity ammo, that feels like it just pushes it over the edge. And then we have the Springfield getting high velocity ammo, which we mentioned earlier. The Winfield Centennial is getting dum-dum ammo, which is nice because the Winfield does that 124 damage, and those extra ticks might help it do just a little bit more to down players that are missing 1 health chunk. And then also the Nagant and Officer are getting dum-dum ammo as well, which again is nice because those pistols are a little bit lower on the damage side, it can help you get a few extra ticks. And then we are also getting a fire beetle. They said this one will be very aggressive. It is a fireball, but not quite as big as like a hellfire bomb. And there's some other differences, which we'll talk about in a second. But this one will be found in the world just like the other ones are, the normal stalker beetle and the choke beetle. This one you can find on the map as well. And we'll come back to the fire beetle in just a second. And then we get into the flash bomb rework, which I'm super excited for, but we'll see how the rollout goes. So there is a new priming animation and sound, so you can hear when a flash bomb is being prepared, and it will take a player longer to throw them at you. Dennis said the intent behind these changes is to make the flash bomb less of a readily available throwable and more of one that you have to use intentionally. With that increased preparation time, there's also a reduced flash intensity, and using the trait Bulwark gives a counter to the flash bomb, so it decreases the flash duration, and the thrower of the flash bomb does not get a hit marker, so they won't know if you are fully flashed. And it can only be purchased between missions, so you won't loot it off a hunter or get it out of a toolbox. You can only have one in your arsenal if you purchase it in the menu. Okay, and then let's talk about some resupply changes. So now the Derringer and the Derringer PENNYSHOT and the flare pistol are resupplied from ammo boxes. So the Derringer gets 8 bullets from a normal crate, and then the Derringer PENNYSHOT and the flare pistol can be resupplied from special ammo boxes. And additionally, the flare pistol ammo is now shared with Star Shell ammo. So if you decide to take Star Shell for some reason, you can have some extra flares as well. And all 3 of these can be refilled using the ammo box consumable. And then let's talk about the health and stamina changes. The regeneration shot is now increased to be in line with standard health regeneration, so it's just as fast as you normally regenerate. But the price of that shot has also been increased by $20. So now you might not need a med kit. I'm not sure if people will actually take it over a med kit, but it can help in those situations where you have an extra one. So now it is standard health regeneration. And then melee stamina, the stamina consumption on melee weapons has been adjusted to improve viability. And what that means is that all the melee variants of weapons can now take an additional swing. So that will make them a little more competitive than, say, picking up like one of the world axes. You do get a little more use out of it before your stamina runs out. And then an interesting change, we got our first burn trait that is not tied to the event. So Shadow, which we've seen in events before, the AI in the world cannot see you, but they can hear you, so you can still make them aggro, but they won't lock onto you. You can find this burn trait in the world where they spawn in compounds, or sometimes they can be dropped by meatheads at a standard rate as the other traits. More burn traits are to come in the future, they said, and an additional change about burn traits is they can now be stacked up to 3 times, and that applies to the event burn traits as well. And then some extra notes from a smaller section. Conduit is getting a change to where it benefits every member of the team, but they're reducing how long the benefit lasts. I think currently it's 5 minutes, so it will be shorter than that. They also did some ammo price and gameplay adjustments. We didn't get many specifics about that, but they did say check out the patch notes. We also got some tweaks to the stalker beetle and the choke beetle. Now those 2 beetles fly faster, but the fire beetle will stay at the normal speed that it is now. So that will be the slower of the 3. And then also the beetles will be able to fly longer outside of the out of range thing. You'll get 10 additional seconds before it kicks you out of the camera. And then there were rotjaw adjustments. We didn't get any specifics about that. They also increased the total number of hunter slots up to 75. We saw that in the roadmap video. And also Razor Chroma is now integrated with Hunt starting on October 4th. So those are cool changes too. And now we can talk about Tide of Corruption. There is some new content in here that you'll want to see, but as I said earlier, you will be getting more info later this week or when you try it out for yourself. Tide of Corruption plays out very similar to Tide of Shadows. You earn event points through these activities. I'm not going to read them all. You can just see them right there. Again, more info on that stuff later this week. Our first look at some of the hunters coming with this event, and that doesn't mean all of these are in the battle pass, but they are being released at the same time of the event, as I understand. So we have the Burnt Marshal and the Butcher's Cleaver. Both of those are in the track, but the Butcher's Cleaver is in the free progression, and then the Burnt Marshal is in the Battle Pass, which you can buy. And then we have the Scarecrow, which is a Bloodbond Hunter, and the Waldman, which is another Bloodbond Hunter. And then we also got the Scourge Morrigan and the Scourge Midian, and those are a DLC Hunter. I believe they come in the same bundle, but we'll learn more about that later this week, I assume. And then that takes us to the packs, and there are 3 traits in each pact, so let's talk about those. The first one for the Death Pact is Witness. While in Darkside, dead hunters and monsters are visible, and health restoration is marginally increased when close to a body, I think they said. Also, bodies are highlighted in beetle view if you're using a stalker beetle. And then for 2 pledge marks, Relentless, your hunter won't lose a health chunk when downed, and that one is a burn trait, which, as we mentioned, can be stacked up to 3 times. And then with Vulture, there is a conditional effect. So if you are pledged to the Death Pact and you have Vulture, looting a dead hunter will restore 1 health chunk in exchange for 1 pledge mark. So that is very cool. That is the Death Pact. Okay, and then we have the Demented Pact traits. The first one for that is Acolyte. You acquire a random trait and some hunt dollars when you or your team picks up a clue. And then we have Remedy for 2 pledge marks. Using Darksight, interact with a trait to trigger a restoration effect similar to Banishing for your team's hunters. We've seen that one in previous battle passes before, but this one is a burn trait and it can be stacked again up to 3 times. And then the conditional trait for this one is Ghoul. So if you are pledged to the Demented Pact and you have Ghoul, damaging a boss target or wild target restores a small amount of your health, so you can get some health back by fighting the bosses. The final one is the Infernal Pact. The first one for the Infernal Pact is Blazeborn. Health restoration is greatly increased while in flames, and you can't catch on fire. So you will heal while you're in flames, but something to be cautious of is that your health will char while you're in fire. So you don't want to lose a full bar this way, but you won't catch on fire either. So it's kind of a slow risk reward type of battle you're doing there. And then we have Rampage for 2 pledge marks. Killing an enemy hunter while at least 1 health chunk is empty triggers a restoration effect for your hunter. So if you're missing a bar and you get a kill and you have Rampage, this will burn off, but you'll get a health chunk back immediately while in combat. So shotgun players will probably want Rampage, and again, that one's a burn trait. It stacks 3 times. And then the conditional one is Bloodless. Bleeding is stopped automatically because your wounds are cauterized. So if you get hit with like a grenade or concertina, the bleeding will be stopped immediately. You still take damage for the initial hit, but the bleeding will stop. Okay, and then we got triple confirmation that Dark Inferno is the next wildcard condition. It is night, and it is the Inferno. There is improved visibility through fires compared to the previous iteration. Also, the fire audio will be quieter than before, but still impacts footsteps and other noises from hunters. It inflicts fire damage, but not on those with a Blazeborn trait, which we just talked about. And then we got some teases of the skins that are in the Battle Pass. You can check those out later this week. Tide of Corruption, along with Update 114, will go live on October 4th. That is Wednesday of this week. Let me know your thoughts on all the stuff we talked about in this video. If you have any questions, you can ask below and I'll try to answer them, but also you'll get more information very soon. So until the next video, goodbye.